What's going on, everybody? I hope you're all doing better today than you were yesterday. If you're looking at the CoinMarketCap screen, everything is pretty much green from where it was yesterday. So I've been wanting to make this video for a while, actually. This is going to be my newest updated settings for Profit Trailer PT Feeder, and I'm actually I'm holding a bunch of bags from this recent nosedive that we took. And whether or not this situation that we're in with Bitcoin and the rest of the market is sort of a fake out and we end up going a little bit lower, I'm actually going to be doing sort of my own experiment. I'm going to be putting in some brand new Bitcoin into Profit Trailer and PT Feeder, and I'm going to be like starting fresh. I'm going to put all the coins that Profit Trailer and PT Feeder bought for me. I'm going to put them aside, and I'm not going to let the bot touch those things. And I'm going to pretty much just start fresh and see where it takes us. Because I think we're in a kind of a pivotal point right here, and something a couple other YouTubers have been talking about, basically in my opinion as well, and I'm not a financial advisor by any means, but this is just my personal opinion, is this might be one of the last opportunities that we get to buy this cutting edge brand new market at a really, really low price. And if you watched my video yesterday, I went over a ton of news that went over just different governments, different conglomerates, massive, financial firms dumping in hundreds of millions of dollars into the crypto space. And it's kind of funny because it's all happening when the crypto space is going under, right? Like everyone thinks this is the end. Is this the end of crypto? Well, according to these really wealthy people who are probably very well connected, it is nowhere near the end. So I'm pretty excited about that, just seeing that kind of news and seeing how under the radar the news actually is going. We're not really seeing any of that good news. So I'm excited. Clearly, we're looking at the USD chart here. Let's go into Bitcoin and see how things are tracking comparatively to Bitcoin. And if you look at this, most of the coins are positive right now. And my theory on this is that when Bitcoin takes a tumble, the altcoins tend to get beat up a bit harder. And when Bitcoin starts to stabilize or maybe finally reach a bottom, which we might be at right now, and I'll get into real brief TA on Bitcoin and kind of my thoughts and outlook. But when that happens and Bitcoin sort of stabilizes a little bit, these altcoins start to rebound to kind of their average price where they should be. They probably shouldn't have corrected as much as they have, and clearly the market thinks the same way. So this is good news if you're trading with a Bitcoin pair. We can even look at the Ethereum pairs. Not so good. Ethereum had a pretty rough day today, and I've been getting some questions. Should I be using Ethereum pairs? What should I be using? To me right now, I'm going to be starting fresh with Bitcoin pairs. I'm not going to use Tether, and I'll explain why in a second. But basically, Bitcoin, I think, is probably not going to go on some major tear to start off. I think Bitcoin is probably going to need to consolidate for a while, maybe a few months, maybe 6 months. I'm not really sure. And I could be completely wrong on that. It could just spike back up to 20,000. But just with past history in other financial markets, even in the Bitcoin market in the past, it doesn't, after a major correction like this, you're not generally going to see a major bull run. The bulls aren't back in town yet. So another thing I wanted to quickly touch on was all the institutional investors. Word on the street, and I've talked about this in many, many other videos, is they're just playing us. They're straight playing every single one of us who's selling their coins. And I'm personally haven't sold anything in this downtrend. I've just been holding and been accumulating more. But what they're doing is they're definitely manipulating this market. I've said it in other videos. This market cap is $268 billion. The S&P 500 has multiple companies bigger than this. And this market cap encompasses almost 1,600 different cryptocurrencies. So if you put that in perspective, this market is tiny. A few big whales can manipulate this whole market however they want. And if they're friends with, other institutional investors, and these other institutional investors want to make some money on the way down and then have a really lucrative entry point, well, then that's what they're doing. So just keep that in mind. This isn't going to zero. I don't believe any of that FUD who say cryptocurrencies will be dead in a couple of years. I just don't buy it. The technology is there. The technology is too good to pass up. And I think this is the ground floor of a really cool opportunity. So that's my outlook. We'll look at Bitcoin real quick. I just wanted to show one thing. Basically, this is on the day chart. And a few days ago, what was this, on the 18th? I had drawn this a while ago, and we were looking at a pretty nice bear flag. And we also like are about to have this double bottom, if we didn't already, which would be like a W pattern. And basically you're looking at like, this would be the top, then up to here, and then down to the bottom again. And then now we'll launch back up. Hopefully, my thought is we'll probably end up in here. But basically when we were sitting at this point, I was pretty confident that we were definitely due for another wave down. But once we got to the top here, it was a bit difficult to tell. So this is just something I wanted to point out. This bear flag has 100% played out. So, and then we've actually bottomed. And if you look at the RSI, we encroached on the 1 day chart into the oversold. But if you go into the 4-hour chart, this is really good news. We haven't seen this in a while. But we have some really nice bullish divergence down here in the RSI. And basically what that is a lower low and then a higher low. And basically that's a very bullish signal. And as you can see, once we made this higher low on the RSI, we're basically shooting vertical right now. And if you go in, I'll zoom in so everybody can see this, but if we zoom in, we're looking at some nice green candles. We wicked all the way down to about 6,500. And that's pretty darn close to our all-time lows, or our recent all-time lows, right? At about 6,000 when we had our bottom down there. So, could this be the bottom? Sure, it totally could. And if it is, then we're in for a really nice ride using Profit Trailer and PT Feeder. I'm really excited. And hopefully, in my personal opinion, I hope it kind of consolidates, and I hope it just kind of takes baby steps and lets the altcoins kind of fluctuate, and then more money can slowly come into the market after it stabilizes, and then we'll definitely go on a bull run again. We'll see this again, and this will look minuscule. It'll look tiny compared to what we're going to see in the future, and I don't know when that's going to come, but it's how it plays out in every market, right? Every single financial market this happens. Now, whether or not it happens to individual coins or not is a completely different story. Same with stocks. You don't know if a stock is going to go bankrupt, or you don't know if the CEO makes a bad decision, or whatever the case may be. But as a market as a whole will go on another bull run in the future. So keep that in mind. This is Ethereum. It's looking grim still. I mean, we definitely bottomed out here. We went way, way oversold on the 1 day chart. So, this is just a really ugly correction. And if we look at the, fib retracement from where we started real quick, we can do this. We went way down past the 78.6% line. So this definitely seems like a pretty solid correction. I'm hoping this is done for Ethereum, and maybe you can play Profit Trailer and PT Feeder the same way if you wanted to. You can maybe play with Ethereum pairs in the future, but I would just hold off. Bitcoin definitely drives the ship, and if Bitcoin goes on some massive tear that none of us really see, and it shoots back up to 12,000, all the altcoins will start to bleed again, because everybody will start moving their money into Bitcoin and to try and gain the profits. And then once that happens, you're kind of screwed in Profit Trailer, because you end up with, some deep bags because Bitcoin went on a tear and you don't have any Bitcoin. So what I'm going to do, this is Cardano, and we're not going to do TA on Cardano. We're just going to use this as an example for Profit Trailer in the new settings. So basically I still geared these settings to be pretty conservative, just in case we end up going on another downturn, which is very possible. There's a lot of people calling for the $3,000 mark They're saying this double bottom is not going to hold, and that's possible. I see the RSI, and I've looked at a couple other indicators. I've looked at some Elliott waves. I've definitely done the Elliott wave correction here many times. I've drawn it 100 times, and I see where it's possible to hit the $3,000 mark. I'm gonna start fresh. I'm gonna start fresh with Profit Trailer, and I'm hoping that this is the bottom. And by all means, I could be wrong, so don't take my word for it. But basically, what we have here, I'll run through these settings real quick and give you some examples. But we're gonna use EMA gain still. I changed the buy value. It's at -1%. It was a little bit, I guess, higher than that. It was at like 0.75 or so. I want it to be a little bit more negative, kind of give me that cushion in case the coins start to fall. Max cost 0.25. I lowered that. I want this to be very slow and controlled. I don't want to get into big bags right away. DCA enabled -4. Let's see. What else did I change in here? I changed the trailing profit to 0.2. Basically, I don't need it to trail the profit too far. I'm kind of okay with getting in and out of these pairs as quick as possible, especially in these uncertain times. So I've changed that a bit. If you are going to download these settings, your min buy balance will be set to 100. You're going to need to change that to whatever you want to trade with. So I tend, probably I'll leave it at like 50-50, keep half in Bitcoin and half trading other coins, just in case Bitcoin goes on that tear. You kind of want to hedge yourself. The min buy volume I have at 350. These are about the same minutes to measure trend. The short-term trend is 30 minutes. The long-term trend is 1 day. And I think that gives us a good spread. Down here, we've talked about this a lot, but basically in my super bear folder, if the max average of the top coins goes below -3, it's not going to do anything. It's just in sell only mode. If we go into this bear market, is -1% for the max coins. I changed my buy value to -25% of what it is up here. So that's going to put me at, -1.25 for my buy value. It just kind of gives you a cushion to buy a little bit more negative if the coins tend to be in a bit of a bear market. And then I have this buy strategy set up to low BB. And so we'll run through that real briefly. Basically, what you're going to want to do is go into your indicators folder for your bear market, and you can change these. But basically, I have my Bollinger Bands set up in here. And let me close this. And I have it set to -25. If you can remember, that is sitting right here. The buy value is at -25 for the bear market. And basically what that does is these are your Bollinger Bands. This is your high BB and your low BB. And what it does is it's going to buy when it's 25% lower than the low BB band. So basically all this green is where it would be buying. And as you can see, so far, I mean, this was pretty dirty. This downtrend was pretty dirty for all the coins. So if you were using this low BB strategy up in this region, you were stuck in a bag. And that was, well, maybe not actually. You might have been able to get out in here in this region. But for the most part, if you bought at the beginning of this correction, you're definitely in a bag. But over the past few, I would say, day, 2 days, 3 days, we've definitely had a pretty steady downtrend, but now we're kind of starting to see an uptrend, and our bot would definitely be looking to buy in this region right here. So with this strategy, it would be buying in the low BB right in here, and this was yesterday. And so yesterday our profit trailer and PT feeder would have been checking the max coin average, and we definitely would have been in a bear market yesterday. And you would have purchased Cardano in this area right here, and you for sure would have made a profit. And so my profit trailer has been making small profits here and there every once in a while. And so that's why I kind of was like, all right, it's time to kind of start fresh and test these settings out with holding my bag still, but just starting fresh with new coins. So, clearly you're going to be able to make some decent trades if you're using these settings. I'm going to get into the next one in a second here. All right, so we're going to get into the next one here, whatever that is. Let's see, the boring folder. So this one is when the max coin change is 0. Doesn't happen all that often just because cryptocurrency is extremely volatile, especially with the market cap situation that we were talking about earlier. You know, it just doesn't get to 0 too often. But I have this set to low BB, and the buy value is set to 0. So what I'm going to do is show you guys that in TradingView. So this is our previous one set to -25. What we'll do is we'll set this to 0, and you'll see how the Bollinger Bands change, or the buying area. This red area will disappear, and you're going to start buying at the low BB line. That's what 0 is. So as you can see here, the buying window gets quite a bit larger. And this is okay because when you're in a boring market, you might be a little bit more flat. And so you might want, you're going to want your bot to start buying. Like right here, this is pretty flat. Obviously, it doesn't look all that flat because crypto definitely fluctuates quite a bit more than other markets. But in here, it was pretty flat. If we weren't on this super negative trend that we've been on, you probably would have seen some really nice buying opportunities in here. So maybe when we start to sort of consolidate and go sideways in Bitcoin and these other coins kind of start to gain their footing a little bit, we'll probably start to see a pretty nice buying opportunity in these boring markets with the Bollinger Bands. So that's cool. One thing I just want to make abundantly clear though is this market, it's very, very possible that we go on one more lower low. It looks like we may have bottomed out here. It looks like with the bullish divergence down here on the RSI, things look like we bottomed out. But if this is a fake out, it's kind of a dangerous time to be, messing around with Profit Trailer and PT Feeder if you don't fully understand the settings and what they're doing. So just keep that in mind, because I don't want anyone getting upset when, oh, I just finally decided to get back in and now Bitcoin's at 3,000 and I lost even more money. So I'm doing this for myself. I'm going to go in and I'm going to redo, like I said, I'm going to start fresh, and I'm going to keep you guys all posted on that. I'm going to show you my updates and my settings and everything. And we'll kind of just see how the settings are playing out. So with that said, let me get into the next one. We'll go into the bull. So this is where it gets fun, the bull market. Now, as you can see, we don't have these lines of code in there, our buy strategy code. So what it's doing is it's just going to go to the top and it's going to use our buy strategy, our base buy strategy, which is EMA gain. And this bull folder, I have it set to the average is 2. So, we're probably in this folder today. In this bull folder. Basically, we have our DCA trailing buy offset. So this is just your trailing buy at the top. It's offsetting this. Where is my trailing buy? It should be right here. So it's offsetting this number, this 0.15, by -10. So these are percentages down here in these folders. So this bull folder is offsetting this by -10%. So it'll go down to like maybe, what is that, 0.13 or so, somewhere in that range. And then let's see. So then we have our DCA trailing profit offset set to 10. So DCA trailing profit is at 0.15. And if you want to understand what these are, you need to go to the wiki. And this is all trailing profit. Basically, what the all trailing profit tries to do is trail the profit upwards to get better profits. So in short, it's gonna look to trail this thing up by 0.15 on the way up. And I have it set, where's my thing go? Okay, there it is. So I have it set to 0.15, and in a bull market, I want to capture a little bit more profit. So it's going to offset this in the positive direction 10%. So maybe that's going to go to, 0.165% profit. So now it's going to look to follow this coin on the way up to 0.165 or whatever 10% of that is. And that'll give us more profit in the end. and then your sell value gets reached, or when this red candle shows up, Profit Trailer will instantly sell it, right? It'll sell it for a gain. And that's cool, because normally with other trading bots, you would probably sell right here at 1%. But Profit Trailer is looking to trail that profit all the way up, and you can offset those things in different markets, which is what I'm doing here. So then you have your sell value offset, which I set to 10. Basically, it's going to sell it at a less of a where's my DCA sell value? We'll just go to it and I'll explain it up there. DCA sell value or sell trigger is at 0.5. So my sell value is at 0.5. Basically, this is going to increase this in a bull market. It's going to increase this to like maybe 0.55 or 0.6, whatever 10% of 0.5 is, right? So that is what that's doing. Then in the Super Bowl, we are looking at a price percentage between 2 and positive 10,000%. So this is an arbitrary number. You don't need to worry about that. But yeah, basically it's just anywhere in between that. And then we're doing the same thing. And I'm offsetting a bit more here with the trailing buy and the trailing profit. You want to get a little bit more profit in a Super Bowl market. You also want to sell at a higher profit in a Super Bowl market. So that's what I'm doing in those situations. Min buy balance offset, I changed that by 5%. So that's, where's my min buy, which would be somewhere in here. Where's that 100? So in here, I changed this to be able to buy more coins in a bear market. Basically, it's just allocating a little bit more of my funds to trading pairs, right? Because that's what that does. And remember, if you're using this, you're going to have to change this. If you're using my settings, I have it set to 100. You will not be buying any coins. So if you're downloading my settings and you're wondering, you just didn't get to this far in the video, and that's your problem. So with that, let's see. These are just the price trend changes. I have these set up just in case you miss maybe like something in these folders. If the coins change really fast or something happens, I have it changed like this. So if the max trend is at -5%, I put in all of these offsets, and they're the same idea. It's just offsetting them a little bit more. Same idea down here, same idea here. There's some pump and dump protection a little bit, but what's the last thing I want to go over? Oh yeah, I want to go over the indicators for the bull and Super Bowl. So these are if you want to know how the bull and Super Bowl market works, these are your EMA. These are in your indicators folders for Super Bowl and bull, and you'll need to go in there and mess with these. But basically, this is your EMA 1, your slow line. This is your EMA 2, your fast. And what you do with these is, I'll show you here. Basically, with our buy strategy in the bull and Super Bowl, it's using the EMA gain, which is here at the top. And what that is going to do is it's going to look to buy at your buy value, which is at -1. And that's -1% below the lowest of the two EMAs. So basically, you look here, and you would have definitely bought in that range because you're sitting at -1.31%. So even right here, you probably would have purchased, because this wicked all the way down to -1.75%. Like same within here, this is the low BB line, or the lowest of the two lines, and it wicked all the way down to -2%. So as you can see, it's super volatile, and this is kind of why I'm trying to get back into Profit Trailer and PT Feeder and do the tests myself. I'm not recommending anyone else do it in case we do go on a lower trend in Bitcoin and all these altcoins start to wipe out these gains that we've made. But it's very volatile right now, and that's kind of pretty much exactly what you look for with Profit Trailer and PT Feeder. So if we hone in these settings, we can probably make a nice profit off a lot of these coins, like with these fluctuations. So I'll go back to the indicators. Basically, this 900 is in seconds, so that equates to the 15-minute candles. So these are your EMAs that I charted, the 12 and the 24. And that is how the EMAs are that's how you're purchasing. So right here, again, you would have purchased there, and then you probably would have sold up there. So if you bought somewhere in this region and you sold somewhere up in this region, that's like a 1.68 1.7% gain in 15, 30, 45 minutes. And you can just cycle through these over and over and over again. And, you know, this is for a bull and super bull market. So that's what we're working with. You can change these and you can kind of get a better idea of where you think things should be. If you want to be a little more conservative, you can change the fast one to maybe like 4. And you can see that the percentage from the lowest of the two EMA gain or the EMA lines here is quite a bit lower now. So you're going to have more of a trouble finding that 1% negative. You still will find it in certain situations. Let's see, like this one for sure, you would have bought here. So negative 1.64, you would have probably bought in this region, probably in this region. So as you can see, if you have one really fast and one relatively slow EMA, you can kind of play with them that way, and you can hone in the bot to how you want it to trade. So I would say having one pretty fast one is a little bit more conservative because you'll have less buying opportunities, but I'm going to test it with maybe like an EMA 10, and that'll probably be the one that I use for the super bull market. And then for the bull market, I'll probably be putting in maybe like a 5, and we'll see how those go, and you guys can download those settings and check them out. If you do like these videos and stuff, I really would appreciate a thumbs up and subscription. That'd be awesome. If you want more content like this, I'll definitely be posting updates on how my like fresh new profit trailer conquest goes. And if you guys want, check out the settings, and you know, after watching this video, post in the comments and let me know what you guys think I should change, if anything. The last thing I want to note is I'm using a stop loss trigger, and this is my DCA folder. This is in every single folder in your bull, super bull, your boring, your bear, and your super bear folder. If you don't want a stop loss trigger, just delete these 2 lines of code. If you do want it, delete the 2 stars at the front. The reason I put those in is because I don't want you guys downloading them and not paying attention, and then all of a sudden we just went through a really bear market. If you enable these and you have deep DCA bags, it will sell your bags instantly. And then you'll be coming crying back to me saying, you know, your settings suck. I just lost $1,000 or whatever it is. So I have them commented out. They're not even commented out. I think this will cause an error with PT Feeder. So that's why I did it. Go in there and just do whatever you want with those. The reason I have negative 15 is because of how I set up my DCA bags. Basically, I have 2 really close together, and I've talked about this previously. I have them so close together because I want to be able to snag a quick drop and then snag it again, like lower my dollar cost averaging as low as possible, and then jump out of it quick. And hopefully it never reaches this last tier. And if it does reach this last tier, then I can double down one more time. And if this coin is just on a tear, just going straight down into the ground, then I end up selling at a negative 15% loss. And I found for my personal, you know, risk tolerance that this is okay for me because I'm using a small max cost. As I stated earlier in the video, I don't want any huge bags. So if I go into a couple bad bags and get rid of them at a 15% loss, you know, I can live with that. And to some people, if you're making 1% a day, that's a 15%. That's 15 days of losing profits. So, you know, you're gonna have to change these to your own liking. I've had days where I've gotten like 7 or 8% profit, so I'm okay trying this and seeing how it works, but it's kind of up to everybody and it's up to your own discretion. Like I said, if you like the video, please subscribe to the channel, give me a thumbs up, leave a comment with any sort of ideas you might have on how to maybe optimize these settings. And if you don't have Profit Trailer or PT Feeder, as always, I have the links in the description. It helps me out, helps me continue making these videos, and so on and so forth. So with that said, guys, I will catch you in the next video with an update on how I'm doing. Let's pray that Bitcoin doesn't keep crashing. I'll catch you all in the next one.